Bueno, en este momento estamos en una entrevista, vamos a hablar acerca de la transición de las personas jóvenes o de los jóvenes hacia la universidad o hacia la fuerza laboral como tal, y vamos a hablar un poco de las expectativas que tienen las generaciones jóvenes como tal y bueno, básicamente la realidad con la que ellos se encuentran. En esta entrevista vamos a hablar en inglés porque nos encontramos en este momento en Sydney, Australia. Nos encontramos con Xavier, so we are here with Xavier.
Yes, yes.
Or as we would say in Colombia, Javier, you know?
Sí, sí.
Javier, can you please tell to the people who is listening to you, a little bit of yourself? How old are you?
Yeah.
How long since you graduated from high school? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Xavier. I grew up here in Sydney, Australia. I'm 21 years old and I graduated from high school in 2022, so nearly 4 years ago now. And I'm in my third year at university. I study finance in a commerce degree, and I'll be graduating from university in June next year.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. A few questions before to the proper questions. Do you know when you were in high school that you were going to study finance? That is what you're studying right now?
No, I don't really have much of a clue what direction I wanted to take. I think either I was interested in working maybe film production or commerce in that world, or maybe something in business and finance related, but I think I was very uncertain leaving high school.
Okay, do you get any help when you were in high school, to see what you were good at, also any vocational help?
Yeah, there was a bit. I mean, there was someone who worked at my high school that helped with looking over your grades and your different subjects, and then talking about if you're good in, let's say, English or economics, they might say these are some routes you can take for university that might fit your skill set, and also talking through what your interests are and see what fits who you would be best leaving high school.
Okay, do you consider what you're studying right now aligns with what you're good at?
I don't know, I think somewhat. I think it's also a very broad degree, the one I do, and finance, you can take it in a lot of different areas, a lot of different industries you can work in. So I think it does, particularly with I'm also maths related, with what I'm good at academically. But I think because it's so broad, somewhat.
Yeah. Okay. You say you're almost done with your degree, have you have 1 year left?
Yeah.
If you will have the opportunity to study again, to start over from scratch, would you choose the same degree that you're studying right now, or would you choose something else?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I think I would be opening to pick something else. I think I still have a very big interest in working in film production, but I still like the degree I do in finance. I find that interesting as well. So I'd probably look at if there were other degrees that could combine both, maybe in a double degree, or that they both fit in a singular degree. I'd consider it, but I don't think I have any regrets with choosing the degree I did. I think it's still very good for the directions I can take out of university still.
Okay, with a little bit of context, and to give a little bit more context to the people who are listening to us, we are here right now in Sydney, Australia, and obviously we are going to talk about from the perspective from the people who is living right now here. So the first question, Xavier, it's going to be this one from your experience. What do you consider to be the main difficulties faced by young people in the community when they finish high school or university and seek to enter to the workforce for the first time?
Yeah, I think leaving high school, a lot of difficulties I think a lot of people face is I feel there's a big push to go into university, which I think can be a good thing, but at the same time, university isn't meant for everybody, and I feel some people are pressured into doing something that maybe be better to take some time off, maybe a year after high school, to just, if you're not sure, just work and think over what you'd like to do. But people are rushed into degrees, and I feel I've seen with a lot of friends or peers of mine that they start doing something and then 3 years into studying they're oh, I was rushed into this and I just did it for the sake of it, and now I kind of regret where I am at now. So I think that's a big problem with high school. I feel a lot of people are expected to go to university, So I think that's a big difficulty. And then for the university part, I have a few different problems, especially recently with like AI. I know a lot of like jobs of like entry-level jobs or graduate roles, they're kind of being taken over by like AI and a lot of these big like corporate companies, especially in the areas that I'm looking at, where there might be, 4 years ago, they'd be looking at 10 people to hire as graduates, but now they're looking for 4 because they don't need that many people anymore. So it's become a lot more competitive and scarce, or like scarce, the availability to start work.
So would you say like the new technologies are like taking over like their places then?
I think a lot of it, yeah. It depends on the industry, but I think what I found, it definitely has taken over a lot of jobs.
Okay. The second question is like, do you consider that the education of young people received during high school adequately prepares them for the demands of the workforce, and why?
I think high school does. I think it could do, maybe it could do a better job, but I feel like the whole high school certificate system, I think really adequately builds up important skills of like particularly discipline. I think there's a lot of like the pressure in the lead up going to year 12. Like it can be stressful, but I feel like it builds a lot of resilience in people, and having to do at least like 10 credit points, I think it gives like enough of a variety of subjects that you have to specialize in to do well if you want to get into a university course. So I think it does those things well. I think, however, there might be some other like soft skills that they could build with that I think university maybe focuses on more, but such as like, I don't know, like communicating. I feel like a lot of the stuff for high school is just like pen to paper and doing an exam, but you don't really build
very
other skills.
structural education.
Yeah, it can be a bit too structured sometimes, so that might be a big limitation with the high school system.
Okay. The question number 3 is, how do factors such as the family, economic situation, access to the higher education, lack of work experience, or the opportunities available in the local area influence the decision like the young people make after graduating?
I think a good thing is why university is so popular in Sydney is that there's like a HECS system where the government can pay for your student fees at university, and then in 10-15 years time you can pay back the government. Okay. So it's essentially free for now when you're young. So it's made university very accessible for a lot of young people in Australia. So I think that's a good thing. However, I feel like there are some stuff with like at universities where you have to do like for example, at my university you have to do opportunity learning elective, it's called, an OLE, and it has nothing to do with my degree, but I have to do it to finish it. And I feel like it's just extra debt or payment I have to make, but doesn't really add much to my qualification.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like something like that, would you say that it's not really going to help you like in the real life?
Yeah.
When you graduate?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. The question number 4 is, have you observed any difference between young people's expectations about like finding employment after finish high school or university and the reality that they encounter when looking for a job? Yeah. And what are the main like difference?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference I've found in a bit with myself, but more so with the like people around me as well, is people very like have a lot of goals they have for where they want to work and like their dream jobs when they leave high school and go into university. And then by the end of university, I think because it's very expensive living in Sydney too, and it's around the time people want to move out of home, they just take the highest paying job, and then they prioritize that over what they want to do the most. So I think that's the biggest change in expectation. I think people become a lot more complacent in what's most convenient and what's paying them the best.
Okay. The question number 5, like from your perspective, what actions could educational institutions, companies, public agencies, and the community take to facilitate young people's transition from high school or university and or the workforce?
Yeah, I think for the university, recently, maybe as a result of like COVID and like social media and stuff becoming online more, but there's very limited social life at university, and I feel like if there could be more action, I don't know how they would accomplish it, but building up a stronger social life at university I think would really help, because it could foster a lot of opportunity for networking, building up connections with industry people as well. Where instead most people here just might live 45 minutes from university,
Yeah.
but don't go in at all, or go in 1 day a week. And I feel like that limits a lot of opportunity. And I feel like it kind of incentivizes people to be less engaged in their studies as well. So I think that's a big thing that could be done. With high school, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like maybe providing more pathways outside of just a university system, because like not everyone needs to go to university. Not every job requires a university degree. So finding other pathways, showing a lot of students that like this might be a better option for you doing an apprenticeship or something, and getting a trade. I feel like a lot more effort could be going into that from high schools. Because I feel like that's a big limitation with a lot of people who get lost after year 12.
Okay, last question, and it's out of question already. Would you say like the information that you're getting, like usually the information that people are getting in the degrees, it's enough, to prepare them to face the reality right now?
I feel like yes for a lot of it, but I feel like they do too much. I feel like there's a lot of units that are helpful. For example, they do a lot of emphasis on group work, which I think is good because you got to learn to collaborate with the people you work with when you leave university. But it's for every subject I do, and I feel like it gets to a point where it's like it's a bit unnecessary at this point, and I feel like there's a lack of a range in the type of assignments you get. And then at the same time, I feel like there's too many units that you have to do that maybe if I do 8 units in 1 year, or 8 subjects in 1 year, maybe 5 of them I feel like, okay, I'm learning important knowledge and skills for what I want to work in. But then the other 3, it's just a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
I feel like they just put in extra stuff just to fill out the degree. I feel like you could be just as qualified, for example, working in finance, doing a 2-year concentrated degree on just particular finance subjects, and not have to do these other unnecessary electives, for example.
Yeah, okay, I feel you. Well, Xavier, thank you so much for your time, and thanks everyone for listening to us. Yeah, I think should be fun.